Good evening. Welcome to our Hamble Parish annual meeting. One of the few things that I've managed to learn in being involved in parish council is how important it is to start our meetings on time. So we're bang on 7 o'clock. So that's number one tip. So I'm Chris Jones. I'm the chair of Hamble Parish Council. It's a pleasure to be here to welcome you all tonight. Last year we had one person at this meeting, so obviously a few prizes and a bit of wine makes all the difference. So all very welcome. We have one bit of business that we have to conduct, which is to sign off the minutes from the last meeting, and with the one person not rejoining us here today, then there was councillors proposed by Ian, thank you, and seconded.
Michelle was.
Yeah. And everyone who was here, please vote in if you're in favour of the minutes. Sounds pretty unanimous. Right, thank you very much. So the format today is just going to quickly reflect on what happened last year. Just a few little thoughts about what we're facing next year. And we had one question that's been sent in, and we have a chance for anyone to speak up if they've got questions on any other business. And then we will go on to the exciting bit, which is the awards. There's a slight difference in the sequence on the printed agenda, but I think that's be a much more fun way to do it. So reflecting on the last year for Hamble Parish. So, of course, CEMEX has been everything over the last year. Well, sort of, because as well as CEMEX, Helen and the team and the council have had to do all the normal stuff that we've actually would normally do as well. So in a way, and the bigger part of what we're going to talk about this evening is all the other stuff. So where CEMEX didn't really count. But we will come back to CEMEX and the quarry issue. But first we're going to go through all the other bits. So I think over the last 12 months, from our perspective, from the council, our village has once again shown the strength and spirit and resilience and our pride where we live. It's been a busy and productive year. I did mention being on time was important at the council, didn't I? So we've been focused outside of the CEMEX stuff on maintaining and improving all of our local services and enhancing our open spaces. And many of you, I'm sure, will already know Alton at the back there, but him and Mark do a fabulous job around the village. So we're all very grateful for that. Key highlights that I'd like to pick out, certainly for me anyway. So the completion of the Mount Pleasant playground by the school was brilliant. It's always sunny in Hamble, but that day was particularly sunny. And we welcomed the Lord Lieutenant of Hampshire. But even more importantly, we had Ewan Thomas there. Now, I knew Ewan Thomas was famous. I didn't know quite how famous he was until he was explaining to me how many trophies he'd won, how many world championships, European championships, Olympic championships, and he's only recently, actually, his British record has been beaten, I think. But the important thing was that Ewan was explaining to all the kids that were there how important active play was for him when he was growing up. And I thought that was a really important message. And it was delightful seeing all the children from the school being out there playing on it. And certainly something that we'd like to be able to do more of and have more future world champions beginning their life journeys in Hamble. Last year saw the return of the Hamble Valley Regatta to Hamble. Well, it wasn't called the Hamble Valley Regatta before that, but it's now called the Hamble Valley Regatta. It returned to Hamble last year and it's going to carry on being Hamble based. It's pretty special, I think, because it links us with our roots in sailboat racing. If you ask people who are involved in sailboat racing to name the top 5 waterside venues around the world, they'd mention Sydney Harbour and they maybe mention San Francisco Bay, Cape Town, Christchurch Bay, whatever. But Hamble's up there in that list. It is a venue that's renowned, and the history is powerful and strong in that. And some of the history even goes back to before Ian was born, although we do have photographs of Ian competing in what was the Hamble Regatta when he was a teenager. So delighted about that. So we've also had to start thinking about what life after CEMEX looks like. And we know we're going to have to start talking about what we do want rather than just what we don't want. And in many ways, that's a much more challenging question. Welcome. That's a much more challenging question to answer than just being against the quarry. So what we have done, though, is to register to develop a local plan, and that gives us the opportunity to get grants and ensures that the priorities and the ideas that we put together do get heard and do get included into the overall plans that the new authorities will be working on. And I'll mention it, I'll talk about it later, but the devolution and reorganisation thing is going to be happening, and we will need to make sure that our plans do get included into the plans of the new authorities, new councils, as and when they're put in place. As everyone I'm sure has tripped over at some point, but we do have the whole village being provided with the latest fibre optic communication infrastructure. It's very frustrating at the moment because the paths and roads are being dug up. But I think having modern digital infrastructure around the village will actually help businesses and social activities to flourish in the future, and it will be an important asset. And then finally, mentioned just in the office, but Helen is our clerk who runs the whole team. We have our second generation Sparky. Welcome, come in guys, come in, no problem. We have our second generation Sparky, which you see Alton and the guys in as they move around. Working on rights of way is a never-ending and ongoing activity, and last May had a major improvement on the right of way from Beach Close down to the water. We had the commemoration day of the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which was so significant, the role of Hamble and the whole Solent area was involved in that. We've installed a new defibrillator at Mount Pleasant. Christmas trees are now for next year as well as this year with our living tree service. And we won runner-up in Council of the Year in the Hampshire, and we were top, the best in the best social media category in Hampshire. So there's a lot going on there, and it's, as well as working very hard, it's nice to get the recognition. In addition, we continue work on issues like antisocial behaviour and highways issues, and cut the grass, and plant the flowers, and paint the pitches. And I've written that 3 times now, and I nearly said paint the flowers and plant the pitches. But trim the hedges and dig the graves. And some of these sound quite simple when you say them out loud, but the amount of regulation, as the guys will tell you about what's involved in digging a grave, is really substantial. But it's important that we work to make Hamble and keep Hamble the special place it is, and try and make sure that the Hamble voice is heard at every opportunity. I don't often get the chance to, with an audience as big as this, to celebrate how lucky we are to have Helen and the team doing all the hard work and making Hamble the wonderful place it is to live and to work and play and grow up. I'd like to thank them for everything that they do. So looking ahead, I think most importantly from a council point of view, we need to carry on doing the same stuff. We want Hamble to be just as great at the end of this year as it was at the end of last year, and to keep winning those awards to prove it. And that day job is actually, well, it is a day job, but it's never easy. We obviously would love to have opportunities to improve other things in Hamble. We'd love to get rid of the wheelie bins on the high street. We'd love to get the roads improved. We'd love to get more sports and activity facilities and all that, things like that. However, there's a few other external things that are going to impact us, which will inevitably consume a lot of our time and energy over the coming months. The biggest and ultimately probably the most important thing is devolution. When everyone said devolution, I was the first one onto a Word to try and find a template for a Hamble passport, but apparently it's not that kind of devolution. So I think I've been taught, it's not my, anyway, pass on. As I understand it, it's more accurately should be described as devolution and reorganisation. And the fundamental thing is that the district councils and the county councils are going to be completely reorganised. And it's very big. It's going to affect the whole country. It's the biggest local government change since 1972. which for those of you who remember was when all of those weird counties that we'd never heard of all got created. And this one's going to be at least as impactful as that. So what it means for us is that Eastleigh District Council and Hampshire County Council will disappear, and we will have just one unitary authority that we are part of. So nothing's been decided yet, but I think everyone is indicating that it's going to be pretty clear that we'll be part of some kind of Greater Southampton area, and there will be some kind of Greater Southampton Council. Pretty definitely include us. I think the unknown bits are what happens on the other edges, but that will get sorted out over the coming months. I think by the end of this calendar year, it'll be pretty clear what the direction is going to be on that. But getting our voice heard and making sure that our priorities are understood and making sure our assets are protected is going to be a challenge for us over the next couple of years as this whole change and reorganisation rolls out. There will be opportunities for us to collaborate with other parishes to try and make sure that not just the village voice is heard, but the whole of the Hamble Peninsula is properly represented. So in the process, we do intend to inherit the assets from Eastleigh District Council. So one of the frustrations we have from a parish point of view is that there's various bits of grass out there that the guys look after, and then there are other bits of grass out there that Eastleigh and sometimes Hampshire County Council look after. So part of our plan will be that hopefully we will inherit all of those areas, and therefore we'll be in control of our own destiny, and we'll be able to make sure that we do things in the way that we would like them done. But in the end, the way that this process works out will probably have more impact on Hamble and what we can do in the future than CEMEX or anything else. We also want to do more of the good stuff. We'll aim to continue our award-winning standards for communication and transparency. As we talked about at the back end of last year, some of the assets that we own are a little bit tired. And so we've already started that program of maintenance that we published in our magazine. We aim to get the Mount Pleasant Pavilion back into productive use as soon as we can, and we know that we need to do something pretty dramatic with the public toilets down on the foreshore. So those are our projects. So anyone who is keen to help with those projects, welcome them to join to the working groups working on those. So please do put your names forward when the time comes if you're a toilet expert or anything else that's helpful. And then, of course, we do have the reality of CEMEX. So very brief potted history. I'm sure you're all aware, but Hampshire County Council put our airfield in the minerals plan back in 2013. And we've been living on borrowed time really since then. It's very rare that a quarry that's allocated in a plan does not get approved. However, despite that, last year we won the fight. We persuaded the regulatory committee at Winchester, Hampshire Regulatory Committee, to reject the CEMEX application on a number of grounds. CEMEX have appealed. And the extraordinary situation we're in, though, is that in between the rejection from the regulatory committee last year and the appeal that's going on now, is that the Hampshire County Council planners have basically overturned all of the objections that the regulatory committee put in place. So Hampshire County Council are no longer opposing the CEMEX application at all. So that's left us, I mean, normally the parish council just has to sort of jump on and say, well, yeah, we don't like it either. But in this situation, it's left us, the parish council, with the residents group, supported by Eastleigh District, to take on the commercial might of CEMEX as well as the planners from Hampshire. I can't tell you how proud I was to be representing Hamble at the first part of that appeal last month. The sheer quantity and quality of the work done by Emma and the residents group, bravery of the schools and teachers and children, the efforts of our legal team who we have hired, beyond anything that you could have expected from a small parish like Hamble. I don't know if you're aware, but there were so many people that wanted to speak. They had to try and find a way of condensing all of the inputs from the villagers and others as interested parties. And thanks to Jenny who organised that and did a great job of making sure that every voice that had something to say has been submitted into the inquiry. It was such a thrill to be there, hearing all those cars honking as they drove past on that Monday morning. So, yeah, both a high point, but also, obviously very stressful and worrying. However, we're only halfway through the inquiry, and everything's still to play for. You'll hear more about that in the coming days and weeks as we work towards the final phase. But as our lawyer always reminds us when we meet with him, it would be a famous victory indeed if we win this appeal. But we're still in the fight, and so there's still hope. So this is the one really serious bit that I want to put out there and really need as much engagement as we can possibly get, because everyone who's advising us on the CEMEX issue is telling us that just as soon as this CEMEX one goes away, and hopefully we will win it, but as soon as we get to that point, if it is rejected, there'll just be another one. And I need to tell you that turn the page over. If we're presented with that, we can't do it the same way again. I mean, Emma and Matthew and the residents team, they all need their lives back. They've committed the last couple of years of virtually their entire lives, and some of them have given up work and bits of work, and it's not survivable. We can't do it the same way again, and we can't approach it as a sort of catch-up fundraising that we've been doing for this appeal. So realistically, if we, the village, want to fight future quarry applications, taking all the advice into account, which is it'll be just one after another, realistically, we need to consider raising something like £100,000 per year to have a legal team in place ready to fight those as and when they come up. And that represents roughly about £50 per household per year in Hamble, which is about a 20 to 25% increase on our part of the council tax. But that is the question. And I mean, as a council, a parish council, we're going to have to make that decision, I think, probably the back end of this year, excuse me, when we put budgets together for next year and the future. The alternative is just that as a village, we accept that we're not going to engage with any future applications to build the quarry. But we certainly can't ask Emma, those guys, to do what they've done again. And so the only realistic option if we're going to do it, is that we're going to have to find a way of funding it. And fundamentally, that's got to be underpinned by contributions from everyone in the village. Anyway, that's going to be. We'll talk about it in the parish magazine. We'll give more formal opportunity for everyone to feed back. But we do really need to know if people have strong feelings one way or another about how we're going to address that if it happens down the track. But let's hope this time next year at least we're celebrating the end of this CEMEX application. So now I propose that we just quickly go through the question that we sent and then invite any questions, any other business that anyone would like to raise. We've received one question, which was basically about traffic. And essentially the question was, what can we do about people that are speeding, exceeding the speed limits in the village, particularly in areas where people and cars are close together, which we do have. And what can we do about enforcing parking restrictions? The short answer is the parish council very little. We don't have any powers to enforce any of those. However, Helen and the guys in the office do pick up on these things and try and twist arms wherever we can, along with all of the other highways type issues, like the guys who are supposed to be manually controlling the traffic lights when they're doing works on Hamble Lane. So Helen and the team are constantly trying to get Hampshire and their contractors to do what the rules require of them. However, if Hampshire County Council or the contractors decide to ignore those rules, There aren't any easy options for us. I mean, there is a sort of nuclear option. We can throw the law at them, but that gets pretty expensive. I think in the short term, we can only expect some of these issues to get worse as Hampshire County Council kind of gets reorganised and wound up, and I think everyone will be massively distracted by that. But hopefully, if we get our representations sorted out, we will be able to persuade the new unitary authority that's going to inherit all of these issues to take more effective action in the future. So that's the one question that we received. Is there any questions or any other business that anyone would like to raise? Maybe everyone's asleep. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for giving me your attention on that. We will now move on to the final and most exciting bit of the evening, which is the awards. This is obviously an innovation for us in Hamble. It's not been done before, as far as I know, certainly not recently. So we did ask for nominations for 3 categories. For category 1 was young people, category 2 was award for individuals, and category 3 was an award for groups. So the scope of that was that anyone who lived or worked in Hamble could be nominated. So we've had lots of nominations, over 20 nominations for this inaugural round. They were all worked through at the last council meeting where the voting was done. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, ready to announce the results. So, first of all, the award to, what's the official title? Is it Community Award?
Young person.
Yeah, but
Recognition Award. It's 2025 Community Recognition Award for Young Person.
right, one of those. And I'm delighted to announce that goes to Martha Hart. Martha was nominated. Martha's nominated for doing such an amazing job representing the pupils, Hamble Primary School, at the CEMEX inquiry. And she was brilliant. I was there when she did it. It was absolutely amazing. So well done. Thank you very much. If you'd like to come up and... Oh yeah, let's do the handshaking bit. There's a certificate for you, stick on the wall somewhere, and a voucher for you. Well done. Brilliant. The second category we're going to award is for individuals, and we had quite a few nominations for individuals, and I am going to mention them all. Bill Pepper is 94 years old and served in the village with passion and determination to assist anyone in need. Bill has been nominated because of his 70 years of dedication he's given to Hamble. Emma Westmacott, probably all heard her voice. And she was nominated for the amazing job that her and her team have done fighting the CEMEX application. Emma and the residents group have worked tirelessly for years alongside full-time jobs and businesses to represent the village. Janet Bradley. Janet's the landlady of the King and Queen in Hamble. She looks after the community through arranging events, campaigning against the quarry and raising money to help keep the lifeboats operating. In the nomination, Janet was described as selfless and dedicated to the community of Hamble. We have Michelle May Miller. Michelle has run the Brownies Group in Hamble for over 25 years. She is an inspiration, selfless with her time, involved in charity work, and a constant source of love, care and support for all the girls, parents and siblings that have attended the second Hamble Brownies unit for generations of Hamble girls. Louisa Cambridge. Louisa is the head teacher of Hamble School. Over the last 18 months, she has completely transformed the school and as a result has made the entire community a better place for children and their families. She leads with the community at heart and has developed an inclusive school which also serves as a hub for the community. Philip Rawlinson. Philip founded the Hamble Conservation Volunteers in 2010. He runs the group with good humour, sources of equipment, maintains the tools and transports them to the site of the task. As well as chairing the regular committee meetings, he keeps records of volunteer hours, sorts out insurance, safety protocols and fundraising. Through his vision and tenacity, Philip has created a group of volunteers who do so much good for the community, come rain or shine. And yeah, I heartily endorse that one. Kay Baker. Kay gives an enormous amount of her time and energy to help the community, expecting nothing in return. She organises the Christmas Day lunch for those who would otherwise be alone or lonely. She volunteers at the Place to Be coffee mornings, making cakes which are then sold with hot drinks to raise funds for charities such as the Food Bank and St Andrew's Church. She helps to run the men's breakfast, where local men come together for a good cooked breakfast and friendship. Kay volunteers for Poppy's Place, which is open to anyone wanting a good, freshly cooked lunch and friendship. This grew from the Warm Place, which Kay started during lockdown. Kay also runs a regular quiz night and has been a member of Hamble Players for many years. Kay does so much work, often unseen and quietly done, to make Hamble a better place, and a lot of people would be worse off or lonely without all that she does. And I'm very delighted to announce that Kay is the winner of the individual prize. You can put that on your wall, and that's the voucher. Thank you so much. All the other nominees, if you'd like to come and get your box of chocolates and a voucher, they are all here.
Do you want to, should we call them up?
No, come. Everyone who's nominated, please come and.
This is going to
If I
test.
take bills, sat down quickly, please.
That's mine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We haven't got Janet, we haven't got Michelle.
Who's the slave? Is there a slave representing or? Michelle. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lovely to represent those two now.
So then on to the final award for a group in Hamble. We did debate whether we should do the individuals first or the groups first. We decided to do the groups as the final piece, because I think in the end, actually the groups are sort of a bigger part of how we are as a village and how we operate. So the nominees for the groups are the Cherubs, run by a team of volunteers who regularly provide their time to enhance play provision for parents and young children in Hamble. They have made a long-standing impact on the community by offering a supportive and nurturing place to go for new parents to meet other parents, talk to adults, and build friendships and support networks. Hamble Beavers. Chrissy and her team work tirelessly to support local children through positivity, positive role modelling, and being active community members. They volunteer their time regularly to help encourage good habits and healthy exercise, develop skills for life and resilience in our young people. Hamble Good Neighbours, nominated because they provide an indispensable service for the disabled and elderly in Hamble on a voluntary basis. This includes transporting people to hospital appointments and organising outings, meals and entertainment. Hamble Players. Hamble Players deserve recognition for their unwavering commitment to uplifting the community through the world of storytelling and performing arts. At a time when many face various challenges, they provide a vital escape and an inspiring platform for creativity which enriches our community. Poppy's Place. Kay, Kim and their team of helpers provide a valuable space where people can meet to talk and have fun. These events encourage talking and provide a space for people to meet. They have a massive impact on the enjoyment of all of those who attend their events. Hamble Sea Scouts. Nominated because they provide local children and young people with an outlet for adventure, learning and personal growth. Their impact extends beyond scouting as many young members go on to use the skills they have been taught in their careers. By offering a safe, supportive environment, Hamble Sea Scouts ensure that every child, regardless of background, has a chance to build confidence, friendships and essential life skills. Hamble School. The school has been instrumental in campaigning against the proposed quarry in Hamble, organising petitions, visiting Downing Street, organising 3 protests, producing banners and being interviewed by the press. However, they have done this while also running the school and developing it into their high-performing local school of choice. In October 2024, they were awarded the Sendy Award for Inclusive Education and the Leading Parent Partnership Award, which recognised the school's work in the community. The staff work incredibly hard to support over 1,000 Hamble children and their families, with much of this work completed outside the normal school hours. The Mercury Library and Community Hub, nominated because the team are all volunteers who provide an excellent service for the village. They provide local information, craft skills, board games, children's activities and fundraising, as well as offering a friendly place to drop in for a cup of coffee and a chat. Wet Wheels is a fantastic organisation which makes the sea an accessible place for disabled people and those with neurodiversity. They give independence to those who have little control over their own lives. They are a credit to the local community. Hamble Conservation Volunteers, nominated because of the fantastic work they complete throughout the village, maintaining and protecting Hamble Common, supporting local wildlife, and maintaining over 50 bird boxes, organising regular activities like litter cleaning, beach cleans, and maintenance tasks, fostering a sense of community and encouraging local participation, providing educational opportunities for those who participate. Now, having read all of that, no one could deny Hamble is just a fantastically amazing place to be. So I would like to announce that the winner of this award is Hamble Conservation Volunteers. Thank you
very much. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Way of closing, I mean, literally, I don't need to say anything else after all of that stuff that we've heard about, all the amazing things that go on in Hamble. So I think I'd just like to thank Helen and the team who look after Hamble so well. Don't know what you're clapping for, you're part of the team. I'd like to thank my councillors who sit on the council and give their time. Malcolm, Michelle, Trevor and Ian. Thank you for giving up some of your time this evening to come and join us. And we look forward to another...
You didn't thank Claire and her.
Oh, well, yeah. No, she's part of the team.
She's part of the team.
Yeah. We already did that. So hopefully we have some good news on the quarry and we'll do this all again in a year's time, and we've had something to celebrate. So thank you very much.